How's it going, guys? Purple TCG here, back with another One Piece sim video. I thought I'd make a new video on a new leader that I haven't done yet, and the one that I chose is OP10 Red Purple Sugar, the 4 life Red Purple 5k power leader, where at the end of your turn, if you have a character, with the Don Quixote type, with a power of 6,000 or more, set up to one of your Don as active, and then on your opponent's turn, once per turn, if you activate an event, set up to one Don from your Don deck as active. So this has not been seeing that much play, but it's got a very devoted fan base, especially on the official One Piece TCG Discord. So I thought I'd take inspiration from there. I did make my own deck, but it's very, very old. Probably OP13 since I last changed it. So that was like almost 3 sets ago at this point, especially when we're going to go against some OP16 leaders. So I thought I'd update it, take some inspiration from a lot of players, and try and work my way around it. So let's see how we do. Hopefully it should be all right. I've played a couple of games with it so far, but overall it's a really fun, very defensive, but also very oppressive deck, especially into the late game. All right, let's go on to the deck breakdown. Alright, so into the deck breakdown. As you can see, it's a very event heavy deck, so an equal balance of events and characters, mainly because of our secondary effect to turbo ramp. We want to get up in Don as quick as possible, so it punishes our opponent for attacking us. Let's start off with the free cost Sugar. So this is from EBO free. It's a free cost 0k power 1k counter. On play, if your leader is Sugar, which obviously it is, play up to one Don Quixote Pirates type character with 6,000 power or less from your hand as rested. So we get to play out any Don Quixote Pirates with 6k power on turn 2 going first, which is very, very powerful straight off the bat, especially if we go into a Monet, or even a Rosie if the last resort. But we want to get the ramp or the search, and if they don't swing into it, it becomes a blocker of this one. So we'll go on to this Monet now. From EBO free as well. It is a 5 cost 6,000 power 1k counter blocker, where on play you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to one character card with 1,000 power or less, or any event, and add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck. So it's a really good searcher. It's a blocker, which is an additional layer of defense. And then if we can't find an event, worst case scenario, we try and find a Sugar, or one of the previous EBO free Sugars that we just talked about then, as a last resort, just to make sure we still get some sort of card in our hand. But yeah, the fact that it can search any card here, event-wise, is just very, very powerful, especially if it's a Mamaragan, or if it's a very, very good counter card, such as, well, it's 10 layer Igloo if we translate it into the English version, so I'm going to be referring to it as that. But it's a 2 cost 5k power, but we'll 5k counter, but we'll get into that later. We'll go on to the next card, which is Roronoa Zoro. I thought I'd try this out, mainly just because it's the 2k buff, which eliminates a lot of decks that go wide, making my leader a 7k. Any red deck can play this, and then obviously the activate main once per turn. If your opponent has a character of 8,000 power or more, this character gains rush character. And the fact that it's a 7 cost 9k power stat line, even though it may be a brick, it's a very, very powerful, aggressive card, and even defensive. Like I said, on opponent's attack, on opponent's turn, our leader becomes a 7k, if not more. But we'll get into that again. We'll get into that later into the deck breakdown. So then we'll go over to the 10 cost Shanks. Easy, OP09 SR, 10 cost 12k power. All your opponent's characters have minus 1,000 power. That's a permanent debuff, and it stacks if you can get more than one down, which is amazing. And then it has rush in itself. Very aggressive card, very good at wiping boards as well. And getting that debuff against a very defensive deck is amazing. So not much else can be said. And then we'll go over to the other Shanks. This is the promo Shanks from the 4 Emperor promos that we got. This is a 10 cost 12k power on play. When attacking, your opponent cannot activate blocker during this turn. So this could be teched out for a Roger, but the stipulation that you have to be on 0 life, or your opponent has to be on 0 life, can kind of be difficult to get into and activate and get online. So this is another tech choice since we don't need the hard aggression with the rush and the extra 1k power from the Roger. The fact that we can just negate all blockers, especially in this format with OP16, especially with the likes of Teach or the likes of Sengoku, the likes of Yamato, if they put a lot of blockers, Momonosuke's on board. If we attack, or even if we just play it outright, if we've got enough characters on board, we can swing and they have to counter, they cannot block, even if they are on more than 0 life. So there are the big red bodies. We'll go over to the purple ones now. This is the OP10 Sugar Searcher. 1 cost, 1k power, 1k counter Searcher, where you activate main, you have to rest 1 Don and this character, where you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Don Quixote pirate type. I keep failing to pronounce that, unfortunately. And add it to your hand and place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a really good tap searcher. Again, it forces our opponent to swing into our bodies, or our leader more likely will be the Sugar Search, because they can't let us get that free card in hand with every search, since if they don't remove this tap searcher where you have to rest it, you constantly getting more and more value as you get more searches, you get more and more cards in hand just for that 1 extra Don, and you don't have to sacrifice any cards in hand to get that search going. So easy 4 of, you search up a lot of your events, a lot of your main mid-powered bodies, so really good, and it forces your opponent to attack, which is a lot of the time what they don't want to do, otherwise you're getting to ramp, which is not what they want. And then for a little bit of spice, it's the OP10 Viola. 3 cost, 4k power, 1k counter blocker, where on KO you can Don -1, and if your leader type includes Don Quixote Pirates, there you are, I said it, add up to 1 purple event card from your trash to your hand. So that is unrestricted to any Don Quixote type event, it just has to be purple, which is really good. So we can go Divine Departure, even the Mamaragan, Norinara Beam Sword, which is probably going to be the one of 2 main targets, that and Bullet String, but it's really good. It gets rid of a block, gets rid of an attack, with a block, and if you Don -1, you could actually get a ramp back if you have to use a red event, because remember of our once per turn effect, if we activate an event, we set up to we ramp an active Don. So if we need to go Don minus just to get that 1 back active, if we only have red events, that's even better for us. So then we move on to Don Quixote Rosinante, which is an OP10 SR again. It's a 5 cost, 6k power, 1k counter. On play, you may trash 1 event card from your hand, which should be easy for us, and then we get to draw 2 cards. And then at the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more Don, set up to 2 of them as active. So this pairs really well with our end of turn with Sugar ability. So if we have a character with Don Quixote Pirate type with 6k, which would be the Rosinante in this case, we set 1 Don up with Sugar and then 2 more Don up with Rosinante, meaning that we can play 3 Dons worth of events. But if we play a purple, such as a Beam Sword, if we're on 10 Don, or even if we play 10 Layer Igloo early game, we can use our leader effect to ramp another active. So in essence, we do have 4 Don to work with in that case. So it's a really good combination. Hence why it was made in the same set for the leader. But the fact that you can trash 1, draw 2 means we can try and find our unsearchable bodies, such as Zoro and Shanks, as well as any other events that we might need for more counter in the future. But then we move on to the OP14 Monet. 5 cost, 6k power, 1k counter. On play, if your leader has Don Quixote Pirates type, add up to 1 Don from your Don deck and set it as active, and then on KO we can draw 2 trash 1, so again getting more cycle through and getting more cards in hand. And then we add up to 2 additional Don from our Don deck and rest it, so it punishes our opponent for attacking into the Monet, since we get to cycle our hand through, potentially get even bigger bodies and ramp 2 hold on. So basically, if we can get this out an earlier game with the Sugar, we not only ramp an active and then get an active through our leader effect, because we've got a 6k power on board, we get 2 Don to use a wider variety of counter events. But it's a swing that it's a body that they don't want to swing into, so we could essentially skip a whole turn with the 2 Don ramp. So if we played this for free, we ramp to 4, if they KO it, we go 5-6, we're already on our 8 Don turn, pairing perfectly into the OP10 Doflamingo. 8 cost, 9,000 power, brick again unfortunately. On play, Dom -1, play up to one 5 cost or lower Don Quixote pirate type character from your hand, and then opponent's turn once per turn. You may rest one of your Don, that should be opponent's attack once per turn. You may rest one of your Don and set up to one Don as active from your Don deck. So your opponent has to attack in order to get this effect online. And so this pairs perfectly with the Monet. If you want to minus a Don and get one back active, it's a big body. Again, they don't essentially want to swing into it really. Or we can get the Rosinante down. So we play this for 8. Say we're on an 8 Don turn. We play this for 8. Go -1 for 7. We get to play Rosinante. We trash a card. We get to draw 2. It has to be an event we have to trash, by the way. We get to draw 2, and then at the end of our turn, we restand 3 Don again with the Sugar effect and the Rosinante effect, meaning that we can play any sort of event and ramp back up to 8 next turn, if not 9 with the Doflamingo's secondary effect if your opponent wants to attack, meaning we can go onto our 10 Don turn to hopefully play a big body like a Shanks. But that's essentially all the bodies that we're going to play characters-wise. We'll go on to the events now. So we'll start off with the tech card that I've seen a lot of people playing Sugar play, mainly for the Enel matchup or the Chump Blocker matchups. This is Gum Gum Giant Thrust from ST10. It's a 1 cost where we have counter up to one of your leaders, or characters gain 2,000 power during this battle, and then we can KO up to one of our opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. So essentially this is to stop the vassals from swarming the board and going against our leader, because early game aggro is not the best for us, obviously. And it's also good against red blue ace. If they want to play down a Jozu, if we clear their 2k searchers, they can't Jozu for free and then remove one of our 6 costs, which is a really good benefit to playing this card, as well as obviously, like I said, stopping the vassals from getting their attacks like Ohm. If we can get rid of an Ohm, that's the best case scenario, and that's why we tech in this card for them tricky matchups. And then we go into, again, 10-layer Igloo. It's not been translated on the sim, unfortunately, but it's 10-layer Igloo from OP10. A 2 cost counter. Choose up to one of your leaders or characters. It gains 3,000 power during this battle. And then afterwards, up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters gets minus 2,000 power during this turn. So in essence, it is a 5k counter for 2 Don. This is second only to what we used to have of Hell's Judgment from OP02, but that's in the past. I'll leave that for if we ever go expanded, because that was a 2 cost for essentially 6k counter. So what we can do here is, if our opponent has 2 bodies that we're concerned about early game, we can play this for 2 Don. We can get out of a 7k using the plus 3k on our leader, and then if we're worried about another searcher, or if we're going against a green-blue Luffy, we can minus a, let's say, Bonclay for example, minus 2,000 to that for the next turn, or during this turn. So when it attacks, it'll be 2k less, so it probably will not be able to climb high enough to reach our leader. So the -2 there, being able to target 2 things, our leader and then an opponent's characters or leader, means that we can get out of multiple attacks just for 1 card, which is really good. And of course, since if it is an event and we're not on 10 Don, we can use our leader effect to ramp an active afterwards, and we're not falling behind with the Don -1 effects. So we're not going Don neutral, we're actually climbing and ramping it with Don. And then we go over to Divine Departure, since our deck is quite bricky and also it's a really good card. It's a 0 cost main. You may rest 5 of your Don cards. If you have any given Don cards, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 8,000 power during this turn, and then counter. You may trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leaders or characters, gains plus 3k power during this turn. Quick tip as well. During the counter phase, if you want to use this card, you don't exactly have to trash, since you've already rested 0. You've spent the cost, which is 0. If you don't want to trash a card, you still get to ramp. Obviously, you won't get the counter for it, but you will activate the Sugar's opponents once per turn effect. So you've essentially ramped for free using the 0 cost event. So it's really good aggressive for power minusing against them big bodies. Hopefully we can clear them with our 6 costs and our hopefully 9 and 12 Ks. I said 6 cost, 6k power. But this is really a last resort counter if we have to use it, because we got a better zero cost, which is the Mamaragan from OP16, the NL event. Zero cost, main, Don -2, draw 1 card, then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less, and then counter up to one of your leaders or characters gains 1,000 power during this battle. Then if you have 6 or less Don cards, which hopefully we'll be able to use this early game, we get to draw 1 card. So again, a really good event for this deck, since we don't have to leave Don up, which is normally a downside of Sugar early game. If we want to hopefully ramp, we do have to leave Don up, which means we're sacrificing a lot of early plays, like the Sugar for example, or if we want to get a search off with Sugar. Now with these zero cost events, we can use all our Don efficiently and then still counter and get that ramp off with our leader effect. So Mamaragan is a really good addition to this deck. I could see it as a 4 of even in this deck, especially with the Don -2 to rest, a 5k. Although we don't really want to go too low in Don, since we do have a Rosinante effect to think of, since we need 7 or more Don. But I doubt we'll ever get to a point where we are minusing with 2 Mamaragans to rest 2, and then still need the Rosinante effect afterwards. But then we'll go on to our 1 cost event, which is I Can Never Forgive Anyone Who Laughs at My Family. Pretty long name. The OP10 Searcher event, where main or counter, we can choose either or. We can look at the top 3 cards of our deck and reveal up to 1 Don Quixote pirate type card other than this event, and then add it to our hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a 1 cost top 3 search for a Don Quixote type card. Obviously, like most searches, can't search yourself, but the fact that we can use it on either main or counter means that we can use it as a normal searcher on our turn. But if our opponent wants to swing, and this is our only card in hand, event in hand, sorry, we can rest 1, search, and then we also trigger the opponent's once per turn effect from Sugar, and we get to ramp from doing a search. So we're going hand neutral from it doesn't give us counter, but using a counter event and then ramping an active, which is really, really good. And then we'll go on to our last 2 counters, which are the 2 costs. Nora Beam Sword from OP07, really, really good card. One of the better purple events in the game, which is a 2 cost counter Don -1, give up to one character or leader plus 2k for this battle, and then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a trigger of ramping an active Don. So this is really good on our 10 Don turns. If we want more Don as active, we can use this for 2. We can -1 Don, so we have 1 Don in our Don deck from using this effect. We use the Beam Sword effect, and then we can then proc this Sugar ability to ramp that Don we've just minused back as active straight away. So basically this turns into a 1 cost Beam Sword in a way, which is really, really good. And the fact that it can rest any character means it's unrestricted to cost. So 10 cost Newgate, a 10 cost Shanks, 10 cost Teach, anything goes. It can be rested, unless it has specific, this cannot be rested by your opponent's effects. But that's a very, very rare scenario, which we don't really want to worry about. Then we'll move on to our final card, which is Bullet String from OP14, which is a 2 cost. Counter, Don -1. Again, same tech we can use with Beam Sword, Don -1. If your leader has the Don Quixote pirate type, up to one of your leaders or character cards gain 2k power during this turn, and then that card gains... for the battle, and then that card gains an additional 2k power during this turn. So it's a 2 cost 4k counter, which is not the worst stat line, but the plus 2k for the turn is what changes this. So again, we can pair this up with the Zorro. Let's say we have a Zorro on board. We've plussed our leader to a 7k for our opponent's turn. Let's say we've also got a Shanks on board with minusing 1k, so they need 3 more Don than they would have to get a valid swing through with whatever cards they have. And then Bullet String we can add on top of that as well to make our leader a 9k for the turn. So very, very good, very, very powerful defensive combination of cards. A lot of the time it shuts down a lot of opponents' attacks for the entire turn, especially if they go low to the ground. A lot of the time opponents can't climb up to 9k, especially if we have a Shanks, which makes it even more difficult. For only 1 card we're stopping an entire turn of attacks, which is amazing defensively. And then we hit them very hard on the clapback, on the attack, And then even if it fails, we can still keep Don up, hopefully from our Rosinante. If we can stack them, we can get more Don up. So we can defend even harder again, because we only used that one card of that previous turn. So overall, that's the game plan. If you find any other tech choices, if you have any other recommendations, please let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into the games. Alright, so our first opponent is Red Purple Roger. So we're going purple versus purple. Red Purple versus Red Purple, should I say. Now let's see if our opponent chooses if he wants first or second. Hopefully they take second. They do. Triple Monet isn't the best. I think we try and mulligan, although we can work with this. I feel like we can do better. Instant regret. But that's what greed gets you. Learn from my mistake. Worst case scenario, we can use Mamaragan to ramp. They've got to attack us early game. We can use a search here. I think we pick out a Monet here. And then we swing 7, so because we can use the Mamaragan. So they're probably going to take this one. I'll be very surprised otherwise. Yep. So let's see what they do now. So they're going to swing 7. We can still Mamaragan and take. We're not too upset about that. Just to get the ramp and draw. And then we have no more counter for a 2k. We'll still take. We get an 8 cost, which is not bad. What we can do here is play Sugar into the Monet. We search. Unfortunately, we don't get an event, but we've got plenty. But we can get a Sugar for counter. And then we can swing 7 again. And then our leader effect will re-stand 1 Don. So we can use probably 10-layer Igloo to get out of a big swing. So we can ramp again and go on to what will be 9 Don next turn. But hopefully we do find a big body, or a 5 cost, sorry. We can play with the Doflamingo the next turn. We restand 1 Don and we pass. So 7 here. I'm okay with that, I think. We can still use this. We want to get the ramp, I guess. And we'll just minus that because we've already got out of the swing. And we'll ramp an active. We pass there. We don't have anything good there. So we could just attach... Oh, no, sorry. Play Zorro and then swing 7 at leader again. So we're constantly asking for 7s. But now our Monet is up as a blocker if we need it as a last resort. So I'm not too upset about this. Next turn we can play the Sugar Search and then hopefully get something for the Doflamingo play. So we'll buff our leader. We can even swing 8 here. I don't think we need any more. Counter. We could play Sugar actually. Ready for search next turn. They'll be on 10 Don with 9 to be played with. So I think swinging 7 is fine. No, I think we swing 8. Yeah, I think we swing 8 because they've probably got a counter event. Sure, that ramp doesn't do anything for them. They still get 9 active. And then I think we just pass there, I believe. Yeah, we restand 1 Don. Unfortunately, we don't get the activate main for our Zorro. Maybe if we waited another turn, we could have. But we didn't have anything to play out otherwise. I think we take this one, even though it is a 7. That's rather unfortunate. I'd rather keep that. We're not going to trigger that. I don't know what do they do with that Divine Departure there. Oh well. Here I think we just use 10-layer Igloo. And then we'll minus that by 2k. So we've got a lot of counter out of that. I guess we can ramp an active, why not? So we could tank our Shanks here, but then we don't have much for defense. So I think that's not worth it. Instead, we'll Sugar Search, hopefully find a 5 cost. We do. We'll pick out the Monet block. -1. Play Monet. Hopefully we can find a 1 cost event because we're only going to have 1 Don up. We can play Mammaragan though, which is not bad. Pick up Mammaragan, sorry. Which isn't bad as well, because if we use Mammaragan, we can then get an active Don from ramping, and we get 2 Don up, which is really, really good. The only downside is we can't swing with our leader, because nothing is a 5k. We'll go 9 into 6 here, just to try and get a swing off their board. If they do want to counter it, it's fine. There we go. We'll resend 1 Don. We're hoping for like some sort of Rosinante or something soon. We won't use that effect. We'll let that go. There's no point saving that, I think. Yeah, what we could do here is Mammaragan. We ramp an active, and then we can use 10-layer Igloo to get out of that swing there. Although we don't get to draw a card, it's kind of unfortunate, but that's why we're only meant to use it late, into the early game. 11 there. I think we just block that. Yeah, we're getting quite unfortunate. We can't play the Shanks without sacrificing having no Don up, but then we've got no counter. I think we just try and clear the board here, honestly. We do have a blocker though. Establishing a Shanks would be very powerful. We can go 9, 9, and 12. If we do have a blocker there, I mean, this is always swinging here. There's no point swinging here if this is going to be a 9 with Shanks anyway. I think we're okay for that. If not, we have to learn the hard way. Let's go. So we'll go 9 into 9. Hopefully it dies straight away. That'll be great. We'll go 9 into 9 again. And then we'll go 12. Hopefully it dies. Quite unfortunate. It does take a lot of counter out of their hand though. And then we'll pass their resand 1 Don. But hopefully they don't try and focus the Shanks. Otherwise I'd be quite upset. They do decide. How many Divine Departures did they have? They've used all 4. That's crazy. To be fair, I can't do anything about that. It's just best to let it die. So we will be able to save 1 body here. Do we want... I think... Either way, they can get rid of 1 body. Sure. And they'll swing 11. That's dead. So... is it worth it? I don't think it is. It's not worth it. I can just clear the body normally. So we'll go 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 12 again, though. I think we go... If we go 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11, 11. We leave 2 Don up. Ready for a beam sword. Or a bullet string, even. We're going to have to. Either way, we clear 1 at least. But if we go 11 here, that's 2. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah. Attach 2. Swing 11. No way he's got another 2k. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 11. And then we pass there with 2 Don up. So if they try and clear the Zorro now, which is not bad, we can bullet string and save it. Yep. Yeah, we have to bullet string. Get Don back active anyway as well. Okay, it might be worth just playing the Dofi out. Just to get that Don up at the end of the turn with Sugar Effect. We're not in the best predicament right now. Yeah, so I think it's worth. We're only getting 9k swing through, but oh well. If he does swing with leader first, we can beam sword still. Yeah. Unfortunate. We'll just swing 9. Pass there, restand 1 Don. So we can essentially use 2 events here. So what are they searching now? Roger. Kozuki Odin. If they play that now, we can still rest it. So they should swing first. You do want to save it here. So we will not use that effect. We will -1 bullet string, get 1 active, then we can beam sword, return Don, +2, we can rest the Gaban as well, so that's all their swings. Okay, so that's really good as well. Zoro, perfect. So that paired with bullet string is not bad at all. I think we go 7 into Gaban, they probably let it die. If not, we'll go 9 and then 9 at face, get them down to 1. Unfortunately, again, we can't activate the main on the Zoro. Otherwise, that would be a free 9k swing right there. There was arguments to be made that we could have gone for game there. Considering we know 1 card that they have. But I didn't want to risk it. I think we're in an okay position. But if they want to counter, they're going to have to use the... At least what we know, they're going to have to use the Kozuki Odin. But I'm guessing if my opponent's gone AFK, then he might have quit, because it does have, the sim does have this thing, at least on my sim it does. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when the opponent disconnects, it doesn't show the you win sign. Oh no, they are here. Perfect. Look at that. And we'll go 9 here. 9 at face. And then we pass there. Restand 1 Don, because why not? So, in essence, we could have gone bigger into the... We could have gone bigger into the Gaban, try and get 2 cards in, but like I said, it's not the end of the world, I think. So I don't think there's much that the opponent can do here. Because now that we're a 7k, even if they had the white beard that they saw they have, if they had another one, they're not swinging powerful enough. So do I take here? Is it a bait if we take? Let's think. If they swing 3 times, we can counter out at least 1. I don't think I'm in trouble here. I'll just take. Gives us even more counter. That's perfect. So let's see what they do here. They could just try and stack Don here. Rather strange. 13. That's our entire board gone. Entire hand gone though. If we do that, I think we let it die. They've got 2 Don left. Probably just counter event. Might be beam sword. But not too upset about that. I think we let it die. We want to keep our hand. Blocker. Fair enough. Oh, that would have been perfect. Wow. How unfortunate. I guess we just... So they haven't got the Odin anymore. I don't think we know. Very strange card to play, in all honesty. I think if we go 11... We go 11. We can go 11 again. We can go 8. Kind of overcommitted with the 11 straight off the bat. Could have gone 9. Am I overthinking this? I could be. What's the danger otherwise? We can get out of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14k swing at most, which is a roger. I think we go 8 into the bullet. Sure. Okay. 2 2s as well, so they were probably baiting the 11k swing, so I'll pass the... Can't restand any Don. Worst case scenario, if they do try and swing with the buggy, that's perfect actually, I think. We won't do that. We'll counter. Plus 2k, KO the buggy. We can't ramp, but we do have more Don left. Sure. 2 -1, and then that's it. Unfortunately, we did proc the leader. Oh, nice. So I think we could have survived. To say they had 3 bricks in hand, it wasn't worth the risk. We guaranteed the win there. Quite unfortunate, we didn't find many 5 costs. We did bottom deck quite a few in one search. No Resonantes though, which would have been amazing. We wouldn't have to worry about defense as much. We could have played the Shanks down without a worry. But I'm not all too fussed. My opponent did get unfortunate with playing or having all 4 Divine Departures to use. But other than that, GG's my opponent. On to the next game. Alright, so our next game is against Blue Nami. They decide to go first. It's not too bad, I guess. We can keep this to hopefully KO the girl next turn. On their first swing. We have a search, so it's not the end of the world as well. I think we keep this. Although there's no mini drop out. Let's see how we do. We do have a 5 cost. There we go. If we can find the 3 cost. Unfortunate. Not that 3 cost, unfortunately. So they will be able to swing there. They will be swinging 7. So maybe it's worth picking out this Sugar Search. Maybe a Monet, because we will be ramping. We don't want to play Dofi too quick. So we'll pick out Monet. And we'll pass there, I guess. It would just be an 8. I still think we use the thrust. We will take, but we just ramp. So, oh, that's not too bad. We'll keep that for when we want to, if we either want to ramp, or if we could use it to ramp next turn, or if we wanted to trash it. We'll go 5. It's quite unfortunate because their next turn will be in Nami. We'll play 5. We pick out Bullet String, I believe. We'll pass. Restanding a Don. So hopefully we can get a good trigger. Not a good trigger. A good Dofi card here. At the 8 cost to go into the 6 cost next turn. Again, that's quite unfortunate. So we'll still counter again. We do pick out the 8 cost, so it was worth it. But we do have to take. But now we're outside of Nami territory. 4 cost Marco is a strange one. So here, -1. Do we need 2 bullet strings? I don't know. Although it's a very good card. I think we'll get rid of 1. We'll swing 5. There's no point swinging 7. They did get rid of a card. It was a free swing there, a free block there, but I guess they wanted cards out of hand for their leader effect next turn. And then restand 1, 2, 3 with Sugar. Raigo is a bit of a strange one as well, since Namis don't normally want to go down to 1 life. But I guess if they play Shanks, can force them down. So if they play Robin here, they're not swinging all too much here, because they haven't got leader effect. Nice. So they knew not to swing, otherwise we get our Shanks down, unfortunately. They knew. Here we can pick out a bullet string, so that's a lot of them done. I think there's not much we can do here, unfortunately. We're just gonna have to swing big. Swing 9, they'll probably block with Marco in all honesty. We'll go 11 as well. We don't want to really swing with our Resonante at all, really, because they could just kill it, and that will leave us with barely able to get any Don up. Can't restand any more Don, we'll just keep 3. Let's see what they do here with 9 Don. That's quite good actually. So we can ramp with Dofi, and we can beam sword. Don -1, and we rest the Robin. Let's see how we do next. We've got 8 Don left, they play Robin again. But now, luckily enough, we can play Shanks. Make their bodies that much weaker. We'll go 5, and we'll just go 9. And 12, obviously. Then we'll restand 3, so we're not in that much danger. We've still got bullet strings. It might have been worth to trash something else instead of the third bullet string, especially now we've established a Shanks. We'll swing 9. And then we'll swing 12. They'll probably block this one with the Marco. No, they take. Restand 3. Organize our hand a little bit. So they play Newgate. So here we can bullet string, and then it'd just be like a 1k, I believe, no? So here, do we take this? I think we might have to. It's the biggest swing out of the 2. And then here we can then +3 -2 and still use a 1k here. Again, we won't use Dofi effect, but we'll use Tenley Iriglu +3 and then -2 to the Nami. We don't get to ramp, but it'll just take a 1k now to save us. Give them 1k. Just in case they swung with Marco, we could then block. Just wanted to make sure. Here, we can play Shanks, Mamaragan, just so they don't get a free block. Oh, not a block, but a block to draw cards, should I say. Just another reason why we play Mamaragan, just because it pairs well with Shanks against the 6k blockers. Like Borsellino, and now Marco, obviously. So we'll go 9 here. If they do block, we'll go 12 and 12. And we'll restand 3. We've got a beam sword ready. We've still got a blocker and 1 life as well. 12 and then 12. I'm guessing they block and counter? Maybe? No. I guess now they can Raigo safely, but that will be most of their turn. We restand 1, restand 2, past there. So we can still beam sword and bullet string. So we're still quite defensive. We can even third shanks if we want to. So the minus 2k debuff is pretty big for us. So now the Robins are just 6ks. If they do swing with that, we can then beam sword, clear one of the new gates. Let's see what they do. It'd be great if we had another Mamaragon as well to rest the marker yet again. So here, again, beam sword, return 1, give us 2k to our leader, and then the new gate. Arguments to be made to rest the Marco so they don't get more card draw, but it's not the end of the world. They could play Borsalino to heal as well, but I don't think it's too bad here. We can double bullet string and save for double bullet string next turn as well, so we become a 9k. Most of their stuff will not be swinging at that point, especially if we play down the third shanks. Here, we block in 1. I think we use 2 1s here. We can also use our Dofi effect if you want to use bullet string as a last resort. We're kind of running low on cards. That's one thing that Sugar lacks is card draw. Although we can use Rosinante, wow, quite efficiently to draw. We're not getting the most value. Here, do we use 1 bullet string or do we block? I think we might have to block here. Just because we need board space as well. So we'll block. We'll use Dofi effect just because, and we'll block. So now we play shanks, swing 5, swing 9, and then swing 12, 12, 12. So we're not going to get through this turn. So we've got to hopefully survive with the double bullet string and the 1k Monet we got, and then the 1 life we will still have. Yeah. If they block here, we could go into the new gate instead. Try and clear the new gate. So it will still take cards out of their hand. They most probably would have countered. They would have took anyway, but it's good to get more counter out of hand, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So they swing 9 first. So obviously no Dofi effect. We use bullet string -1, ramp 1, and use the Monet. Now we're a 7k base, so it will take more Don for them to attach to their Robins, and then we can bullet string again to make it even more difficult for them to climb up. But then at that point, if they can climb, we're in a precarious situation. So I don't believe we run any 2Ks. So now we're a 9k. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 1k in life if they want to swing 8 and 8. 9 and 9, sorry. We need a 1k in life. Can we win? Sugar. That should be GG's now. GG's to my opponent? Yeah, GG's. Wow, what a crazy game. That was a very, very ropey for a bit there. Winning by 1k, even with 3 shanks, is... I mean, it shows the aggressiveness of Nami and her draw power. The fact that she can also would have been able to force me to take one of my lives before even swinging. That could have been very detrimental. That could have been the game changer. So luckily enough, they didn't play a Nami down. Instead, they played 3 whole Robins that we couldn't clear. They didn't play Borsellino. Instead, they wanted to play a Robin to establish a body that they could swing with next turn. But luckily enough, with the third Shanks, we made them 5k swings. Double bullet string was the make or break, really. We kind of needed to keep the Rosie up at all times. We could never swing. Obviously, Namu always being a 7k means that Rosie wasn't swinging unless we had Don attached to him. But we wanted to keep the Don up just for that exact situation. But GG's to my opponent. That was a very good game. Alright, so we're against Black Yamato. Here, I don't know what we want to take here. I've not had any experience with Sugar into Yamato. I think we want first. That's really not bad at all, in all honesty. Yeah, I think we keep this. We play Sugar, pass. So hopefully we can play Sugar into the Monet to draw some sort of 1-cost event, because we'll stand 1 Don up with our Sugar effect. So we'll play the 3-cost into the 5-cost. Unfortunately we don't, which is quite sad. But I think we'll take... Do we take the Beam Sword? They do play a lot of stuff out from trash anyway. I think we take the 10-layer Igloo here. And then we'll swing 5 at face. Hopefully they want to play some sort of Kinemon and then only swing 5 at face, which we'll happily take rather than going into our Monet. Pass, restand 1 Don. Maybe they just won't swing. Nope, they swing 5, which is quite unfortunate. We do get... Do we need the ramp? We don't think we need the ramp. I'd rather have the event in hand, in all honesty. Yeah, they do play the Kinemon. So if we can get a 5-cost purple Monet here, we can ramp 1. And then keep 1 active and then swing 5. And we get another 10-layer Igloo, so we can rest 1. We can pick out a Rosinante, which we'll take, because we need some sort of aggressive body after this. And then we can swing 5 here. And then hopefully we find a Dofi. We do. We can play, well, hopefully ramp next turn. We can play Dofi into Rosinante, probably trash 10-layer Igloo maybe, to draw 2. And I guess we'll just pass there. We could have swung 6 in all honesty. That was probably a misplay because we do get to restand 1. I doubt we're going to have to use 2 10-layer Igloos this turn. But hopefully the aggression from Yamato isn't too overwhelming before we can establish a board. Yep, unfortunately that Sugar will die. Is it worth? It's worth the free block, right? If we're going to use 10-layer Igloo anyway, go Kinemon into it, and then they use their Yamato, play a Yamato 8k into anything, I'd still get out of it, so I think it's worth the block here. Oh, they play another Kinemon. Even then, if they swing 8 into the Sugar, it's dead. Otherwise, if they swing 8 into Monet, I'll just use the 10-layer Igloo. I'll still have to use it no matter what. I do have to use it. Unfortunately, we don't get out of it. We could, in theory, using the beam sword, but I'd rather just let it die. So now we can swing. Yeah, we'll swing 5 at life again. Do we go? I think we go Rosie. We have to go Rosie here. We'll save the Zoro for when the Yamato is down. -1. Rosie, Trash Tane Layer Glue. We don't get the best cards up. But we restand 3. Hopefully we can find something with the Don Quixote Searcher event. Here we can ramp. We can beam sword for 2k, get the Kinemon out. That's not bad. Get 1 active, and hopefully we can play a Shanks or something. It's not the 10 cost Shanks, which we much rather prefer. If they want to go into here, be my guest. So they play the which Yamato? They got 2 in there now. Next turn we can play Zoro, I guess. Try and clear their board a little bit. Unblockable. Oh, take. We do get a 10 cost Shank, so that's really nice. Make it easy to defend against other attacks. Swing 5. Hopefully get the counter out of their hand. We swing 9 and 12. We don't think we want to go for board yet, do we? Probably not. For life yet, do we? Probably not. They counter out the 5. They probably let the 9 go, and then let the 12 go. They let the 9. They let the 5k go. Okay. And then, if we don't have to use Mamaragan next turn, what we could do is kill the Yamato. It will bring out a 6 cost. They do get to draw on Trash 1, but we can Mamaragan the 5k Yamato that will bring out and swing into it, which might be a really good play if we can set it off. 2, 3. If I swing 9 into 7 eventually, they might think, oh, perfect. 7 here. We won't use Dofi effect. We'll use this to pick out Rosie. I guess we'll take because we've already gone past the blocker phase. Yeah, downside is just no 2Ks if we're relying heavily on events. So that could be a new tech choice, just adding in just a couple of 2Ks, become searchable. We might have to scrap that idea and use the 1K over 1K. We can block them 1K just in case they try and play another unblockable. No Dofi effect. It's quite unfortunate that we haven't got much to work with here. They might play the 9 cost Momonosuke. The 5 cost Momonosuke. The trash isn't 20 or more though right now. They can't use that. Oh, wait, what? What's the condition? Oh, it's with a cost 21, not a trash at 20 more. No, I'm so used to seeing Croc play, so. Okay, so here. I could play Zoro. I'm gonna have to take this one, unfortunately. So Ushimaru. I'm gonna have to take this one, unfortunately. I don't think I can use 3 1Ks here. But that just mean I have to go for game next turn if they can get another Yamato out. I've not got that many events, unfortunately. I just haven't been able to find them. Sure. Another one. Another 1k. I've got in all the Monets and another 10 cost Shanks. So we'll play buff. I go 9 into 7 here. Hopefully they don't realize what I'm trying to do here. Although they do have 2 blockers. Ooh, not the best. Also, the fact that Shanks is on board, I don't get the Zorro effect, which is quite unfortunate as well. I don't get the activating because it has to be 8k power, not base 8k power. So they're probably thinking, what am I planning to do? They could try and defend it. And if they do, I'll back out of this play. In all honesty, I could have played Shanks again and tried to go for game here. I don't see a world where I can survive the next attacks. I've just got no counter events. I'm still going to Mamara again because I get to draw a card. Yeah, they do end up countering. So I will still Mamaragan, rest the Momonosuke, just so I can clear it, I guess. -2. I do get a bullet string, which is really good here. I'll rest the Momo. Swing 7 into Momo. And then this will just, no matter where I swing, it's going to be an Ushimaru block. This would be great if I had, wait no, I was going to say a free cost sugar into the Monet blocker, but that doesn't do anything for me because the Monet would come out as rested. Could just try and scare them and just leave all my Don. Or I could swing 9 with Rosie, try and clear this, but they do have a lot of counter. So I think I just, although I'm not getting any more cards, so even with a bluff, I doubt it's going to work. So I think I'll just go, oh, I do mean. I think I swing 9 here. They've definitely got the counter, but it's more counter out of hand, so I can maybe go for game next turn. I just know that no matter what, this Yamato will be, one of the Yamatos will be rested. And I'm going to try and block with this one first. Although if I have to block with that one, I don't think I win here unless this goes. Even then, swinging 17, I can go up to, what would this be, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if they have any common game sense, they'll just swing 17 at face. But hopefully with 3 Don up, they will, or maybe if they try and go wider, rather than if they save this. With 3 Don up, it could scare them a little bit. Who knows? Let's have a look. Please don't go 17 face. Yeah, it's just unfortunate we've hardly found any events late game. We've found quite a few, but we just had to trash one. We've used one early game. One was a searcher, which that I don't really count as using it as an event for counter. And then a Mamaragan we used just to draw a card and rest a Momonosuke. So they're probably tempted to split the Don, and if they do that, that'd be great. If I can block the Monet swing. So they choose to do that. Do this. 11, that clears it. I ramp an active. So that could scare them off. They could easily get the Yamato back out, but I'm a 9k. So I think this might be good. This might be really good. Hold on. They could get more blockers out, but if I play this Shanks out, I'm probably going to block one of the attacks. I could just turn every attack unblockable and then try and go for game. But they're probably thinking I've got Roger, but that's why they're probably not going to play blockers down. But playing a Kinemon is a weird choice. It easily could have gone 17 there. I guess the 3 done up kind of scared them. No, I guess they know how defensive Sugar can be, but they don't know that I've got absolutely nothing in hand counter-wise apart from that one bullet string. Wow. Okay. So what do I do now then? I think I have to go for game, no? They got no blockers. I can play the 10 cost Shanks as a further swing if I have to. If I go 5 here, that's 1 card. 6. That's 2 cards. 9. 2, 2, 1. 9. Take. 12. Take. 12. Take. Right? 9? No, so 5, 6, 6. 9, 1, 2, 3. 9, 1. They can't, they have to take. 9. Again, they take. I think we're okay, right? What's their counter events? I think it's just plus 3k, right? We'll swing 5. Let's see if it works. I might be thinking of something completely different. We'll swing 6. Swing 6. We'll swing 9. We'll swing 9. They counter if we swing 12. I think this is a math win, no? I can't think of what the free, other than like the generic 3k counter to leader events. Maybe a ground death, but that's a one I've already used in most Yamato decks that I know of. Even then, that's 2 cards. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If it's a grand F, fair enough. And then Shanks. 8, 9, 10. No way, they had it. Double event. Damn, GG's to my opponent there. I don't think I could have mapped it out any other way. With the counter events, I would be stacking Don for no reason. Yeah, GG's. I'll restand free. Let them go. Get their swings in. That was a very good game. So I think they got that off life, no? They got exactly what they needed. Down to 2k, so I lost off what they had in life. That's unfortunate, that. Wow. GG to my opponent. That's just very unlucky, but in that, even though they could have swung 17 at life the turn earlier, you can see how good and scary bullet string top deck, that would have been nice, how good Sugar can be defensively, that it scares them off from doing a 17 swing that will normally in most decks, unblockable 17, you're not getting out of. So, and the fact that I only lost to exactly perfect counter from their life with 2 cards left in their life shows, yeah, normally in most case scenarios I would have won that game from that point. But just, you know, a broken clock is always, what's the saying? A broken clock is right at least twice a day. Nah, that's not the right saying. What am I on about? Trying to be all, you know, philosophical. I just got unlucky. Nothing to complain about. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I should have lost if my opponent went 17 at face. So I can't complain about that at all. GG's to my opponent. I guess I'll go on to final thoughts now. The video's been going on for long enough. Alright, final thoughts on the deck. I think I've fallen in love with... Oh, wow. Whoa. I fall in love with this deck. I was going to say Sugar for a second then, but no. If you like the very defensive purple but also aggro decks, this is a really good deck. I recommend you trying. I appreciate the posts on the OP16 Discord on the Sugar channel for the inspiration for this deck. I can't take full credit for it. A lot of this I was already running in my decks, like the Shanks, for example, rather than the Rogers. In this instance, I almost had to use it in the Yamato game, but I did get another 10-cost Shanks instead anyway. Unfortunately, didn't get to use a lot of the cards in the couple of games that we did play. The Viola, for example. We did have a chance to maybe use the Giant Frost from ST10 in the Nami game where they could have played Girl, which would have been really beneficial for us to get that out of the way early. But they never ended up using it anyway, but we did end up winning that Nami game in the end eventually anyway. The Zoro, really good addition to the deck, especially when it's paired constantly with Bullet String, becoming a 9k, especially if there's a Shanks on board, like I said in the start and the deck breakdown. Being a 9k leader without having to, with only needing 2 specific cards, which you normally have more often than not, late game is really good. We didn't find that many beam swords as well throughout our games, especially that last Yamato game. We didn't find that many events, but I could see maybe taking out Viola and let's say one of these Manets for 2Ks, just to have that, don't have to sacrifice showing that we've only got 1Ks in our hand. Just showing a 2k, especially if you have a Mamaragan as well, you can get out of a 7k swing just for essentially what is just 2k at that point. So maybe I can see, let's say there's a Baby 5 in OP10, I believe, which is a 1k counter, so it can be searched by Monet, so it becomes a dual searchable 2k if needs be, which is a really good tech choice. So you can use it for the ramp that's on play, trash a card to, if you're Don Quixote Pirates leader, add up to 1 Don, set it as active, so you can use it for that ramp as well. Not really the best use of your 3 Don turn, in all honesty, I think, but the fact that it's a 2k, it's a 1k power, so it's searchable by Monet, it's Don Quixote type, so you can search it with Sugar, or the Searcher event. It's really, really good for that. So I could see myself dropping a Monet by 1, dropping the Viola entirely. I don't see myself having to use it all too much, and maybe just buffing, getting 2Ks in there just in case. Don't see myself using Divine Departure all too much, especially if we get a Rosie on board, but that's just in them instances where we need the extra bit of counter, which did almost come into use quite a bit in one of the games. Can't remember which one exactly. But all in all, I think I'm very happy with the deck. Let me just load it back up to the original. I'm very happy with this deck. Like I say, you can change the numbers, take it however you want. The Mamaragan, a very good addition to the deck, especially if it's paired with Shanks. It can get rid of any 6Ks, blockers if they're in the way, which is quite prevalent in the meta currently, like the Borsalinos, the Momonoskes, and the... Which one did we go against? It was the Marco against Nami. We just rested that, stopping drawing 2, especially when the Nami didn't have a Don on leader, which is unfortunate for them. All in all, really, I want to say consistent, quite consistent. If you can get your can get your events, quite a consistent deck. It's very defensive, but you can hit just as hard on the counter attack as well. But that'll do it for the Sugar gameplay. If you did like it, make sure to like and subscribe. As well as that, make sure to comment down below any other tech choices that you might have, that you would suggest. And I guess that's it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.